Forget the fairy tale you think you know. When the heavy oak doors of the abbey swing open and a royal bride steps onto the aisle, she isn't just wearing lace and diamonds, she is being woven into a cold, calculated machine of dynastic survival. Beneath the polished veneer of a global spectacle lies a playbook written by dead monarchs, enforcing rules that transform a simple marriage into an act of statecraft. Coming in at number 10, the sprig of myrtle. Every royal bouquet since the mid-19th century contains a hidden, unassuming cutting of this specific plant. This is not a stylistic choice. It is a mandatory command from Queen Victoria herself. In 1840, Victoria married Prince Albert, carrying a nosegay given to her by Albert's grandmother. Victoria didn't just admire the flowers, she planted them, decreeing that every royal bride after her must carry a piece of that exact same bush. I want you to imagine the head gardeners at Osborne House. They describe their work not as mere horticulture, but as a high-stakes mission. They've often said that the bush is guarded with the severity of a state secret, ensuring it survives the harshest winters specifically for the next wedding. This sprig is a botanical talisman of continuity, physically linking every modern bride back to the matriarch of the dynasty. Number 9 takes us even deeper, literally with the Welsh gold requirement. While most couples choose rings based on taste, for the British royals, the medal itself is a matter of national identity. Since the wedding of the Queen Mother in 1923, wedding bands have been fashioned exclusively from rare gold nuggets found in the Clogau St. David's mine. The master goldsmiths of the palace have whispered for decades about the fineness of this gold, noting that it possesses a warm, rose-colored hue that standard gold simply cannot replicate. When the supply ran low, the Queen Mother famously insisted that the tradition must hold, because to wear this gold is to be bound to the very earth of the United Kingdom. It reinforces the claim that the monarchy is physically composed of the land itself. If you are fascinated by these hidden protocols, hit that like button, nieces, that like button right now, and subscribe to join our deep dive into the secret history of the aristocracy. Drop a comment below. Do you think these traditions are romantic, or just a bit too bizarre? The royal family's obsession with maintaining living symbols and geological ties shows that they don't just want to represent history, they want to own it. But once the bride is physically bound to the past, she enters a minefield where her very bouquet becomes a tribute to death, and her marriage becomes a matter of strict constitutional law. Did you know there are flowers that a royal bride can never, under any circumstance, take home after the wedding? While many brides around the world dream of preserving their wedding bouquet in a shadow box or tossing it to a crowd of hopeful friends, the royal bride faces a much more solemn reality. At number 8, we find a tradition that shifts the entire tone of the day, from a celebration of romance to an acknowledgement of national sacrifice. After the cameras stop flashing and the crowds disperse, the bride does not keep her flowers. Instead, they are sent back to Westminster Abbey to be laid upon the tomb of the unknown warrior. This ritual began with a moment of raw, personal grief in 1923. As the Queen Mother walked into the abbey, she unexpectedly paused to lay her bouquet on the tomb to honor her brother, Fergus, who had been killed in the First World War. Palace aides from that era recalled the silence that fell over the congregation, noting that the gesture turned a private wedding into a public moment of mourning. Today, this is a mandatory act of remembrance. While official photographs show the bride clutching the blooms, the physical object is destined for a cold stone floor. It is a stark political reminder that the royal family's status is inextricably linked to the military and the people who died serving the crown. But the control over a royal union begins long before the flowers are even picked. At number 7, we encounter the instrument of consent. In the civilian world, a couple might ask for a parent's blessing over a family dinner. In the royal house, it is a matter of constitutional law. Under the Succession to the Crown Act, the first 6 people in line to the throne literally cannot marry without the monarch's formal, written approval. This is not a simple note. It is a massive, hand-illuminated document made of vellum and sealed with the Great Seal of the realm. Legal experts have often described this document as the ultimate veto. If the monarch refuses to sign, the marriage is legally void, and any descendants are disqualified from the throne. When the late Queen signed the consent for Prince William, observers noted that the document featured intricate heraldic symbols specifically chosen to bind the two families together. This ritual is a potent reminder that a royal's heart is not their own. It is an asset of the state. Now that the legalities are settled and the tributes are paid, the celebration moves to the reception. But don't expect a modern party. Why does the palace stubbornly insist on calling a mid-afternoon feast a breakfast? And why are guests served a cake designed to last for over a century? Once the vows are exchanged and the legal documents are sealed, You might expect the pressure to lift as the celebration begins. However, the royal reception is where the monarchy's obsession with the past truly takes center stage. Moving to what many call the wedding breakfast, we find a linguistic paradox. To any modern observer, this title is baffling. The meal typically takes place in the early afternoon, long after the traditional hour for eggs and toast. Courtiers have explained that this terminology is a rigid holdover from a time when the wedding was a Eucharistic Mass. Back then, the bride and groom were required to fast from midnight until the service was completed. The meal they shared afterward was, quite literally, the breaking of their fast. Even though modern church rules have relaxed and the ceremonies now take place later in the day, the palace refuses to update its vocabulary. By maintaining this archaic title and insisting on menus written entirely in French, despite the event being quintessentially British, the institution signals that it operates on its own timeline, untouched by the fleeting norms of the 21st century. This theme of defying time extends to the centerpiece of the room, the cake. While most modern couples opt for light sponges or decadent chocolate, a royal wedding cake is almost invariably a dense, alcohol-soaked fruitcake. This is not merely a matter of taste, it is a matter of architectural logistics and historical archiving. A royal cake must be sturdy enough to support hundreds of pounds of sugar-pasted decorations and intricate sculptures. But more importantly, these cakes are built to last. Because of the high sugar and alcohol content, they are essentially self-preserving. Palace archivists have noted that we still possess edible slices from Queen Victoria's wedding in 1840. The ritual involves saving the top tier, not for a one-year anniversary, but for the christening of the couple's first child. It is a culinary symbol of longevity, ensuring that the wedding day is tangibly connected to the arrival of the next heir. The food is designed to outlast the generations, serving as a reminder that the monarchy is always looking decades into the future. Yet, while the cake is allowed to age for centuries, the appearance of the couple in the moment is controlled down to the last thread. Why is it that a royal groom is stripped of his individuality, forbidden from wearing a standard suit, and forced into a role that recasts him as a soldier of the state? While the cake preserves the future, the attire of the couple on their wedding day is designed to freeze the past. At this stage of the ceremony, individuality is stripped away in favor of a rigid visual code. For a high-ranking royal groom, the choice of a tuxedo or a morning suit is non-existent. Instead, he is almost always required to wear full military dress. This is far more than a fashion statement. It is a visual manifestation of the sovereign's relationship with the armed forces. The royal males hold honorary military ranks, and their wedding day is the primary opportunity to display this allegiance to the world. However, the groom cannot simply pick his favorite uniform. He must wear the attire corresponding to his current rank and appointment, often requiring the monarch's explicit permission. Prince William, for instance, wore the vivid red tunic of the Irish Guards, not because it was his personal preference, but because the Queen insisted upon it as he held the honorary rank of Colonel of the regiment. This ritual recasts the man at the altar as a servant of the crown, and a soldier of the state first, and a husband second. It reminds the global audience that the hand taking the brides belongs to a commander backed by the full military power of the monarchy. While the groom represents the iron of the state, the bride represents its Victorian morality through a botanical tradition that dictates the very scent of the day. Alongside the myrtle, the use of orange blossoms is a direct homage to Queen Victoria. She popularized the trend, viewing the delicate white flowers as the ultimate symbol of chastity and fertility. While modern brides often choose diamond tiaras from the royal vault, the motif of the orange blossom is frequently woven into the silk of the dress or the intricate embroidery of the veil. In 1947, the late Queen's dress featured orange blossom motifs that created a through line of fragrance and imagery across generations. By using these specific symbols and even piping the scent of the blossom into the venue, the institution creates an olfactory time capsule. It ensures that a royal wedding in the 21st century smells exactly like one from the 1840s. It is a subtle sensory ritual that turns the bride into a living canvas of history, existing in a suspended, timeless state. But while the image is curated to perfection, and the scent is carefully controlled, the spoken word remains a battlefield of tradition. For decades, the most scrutinized moment of the service has been a single word in the marriage vows, one that was once considered non-negotiable but eventually sparked a seismic shift in protocol. Did you know that a royal bride's refusal to say one specific word was once viewed as a dangerous break from 1,000 years of precedent? Inside the hallowed silence of the cathedral, the air is heavy with the weight of 1,000 years of history. Every word spoken at the altar is a piece of a centuries-old script, but one specific word has sparked more controversy than almost any other in royal history. Obey. For generations, the traditional Anglican marriage service required the bride to vow to love, cherish, and to obey her husband. This wasn't just a religious formality. In the context of the monarchy, it was a symbolic reinforcement of the patriarchal hierarchy that holds the crown together. In 1981, Lady Diana Spencer caused a seismic shift in protocol that sent shockwaves through the palace. She became the first royal bride to request that the word obey be omitted from her vows to Prince Charles. Traditionalists of the time viewed this as a dangerous break from precedent, a crack in the unshakable foundation of the institution. Observers close to the ceremony at the time recalled the tension in the room, whispering that to change the words was to change the nature of the union itself. Yet, what was once a scandal has now become a modern standard of its own. Decades later, both Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle followed Diana's lead, choosing to omit the promise of obedience. This evolution highlights a fascinating tension within royal rituals. They are rigid, but they are not entirely immutable. This public assertion of agency is a small but significant victory for the individual, within a system designed to strip it away. It proves that the monarchy can, albeit glacially, adapt to the changing status of women in society. Every royal bride must navigate this invisible battlefield, caught between her own personality and a script written by ancestors she never met. They are the latest actors in a long-running play, attempting to breathe life into roles that were defined long before they were born. While these brides have successfully reclaimed their voice at the altar, they still remain bound by the ultimate expectation of the state. But while the words spoken in the church are powerful, the most iconic and essential moment of a royal wedding doesn't even take place inside the sanctuary. It happens on a literal stage, high above the masses, where the boundary between the divine sovereign and the ordinary person is most clearly drawn. What is this final, choreographed act that the entire world waits for? And why is it considered the ultimate test of the monarchy's survival? The most iconic image of a British royal wedding does not happen inside the cathedral. It happens on a narrow stone ledge, high above the crowds at Buckingham Palace. Number 1 on our list is the balcony appearance. This ritual is technically not part of the marriage ceremony at all, yet it is arguably the most critical moment of the entire day. It is the moment the monarchy presents its future to the world. While the tradition began in 1858 with Princess Victoria, it reached its zenith in 1981. Because royal weddings are held in Anglican churches, kissing at the altar is generally frowned upon. The balcony provided a secular stage for the public display of affection the global audience demanded. When Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer shared that first kiss on the balcony, it wasn't just a romantic gesture, it was a choreographed act of reassurance. It told the public that the dynasty was secure and that the next generation had arrived. This ritual encapsulates the central paradox of the royal family. To be believed, they must be seen, yet to be worshipped, they must remain elevated. Standing on that balcony, they are untouchable, peering down at the thousands of people gathered on the mall. It is a visual language of power that has remained unchanged for over a century. As we look back at these 10 bizarre rules, from the sprig of myrtle to the balcony wave, it becomes clear that these are not merely quaint habits of an old family. They are the calculated movements of a survival mechanism. In a world that changes with blinding speed, the monarchy offers the illusion of permanence. By performing the exact same actions, wearing the same gold, and signing the same vellum parchments as their ancestors, they assert their legitimacy. They tell us that the crown was here long before we were born and will remain long after we are gone. But we must wonder, are these young couples the masters of this pageantry, or are they simply the latest actors trapped in a golden cage? Do these rituals protect the sanctity of the institution, or do they slowly suffocate the humanity of the people inside it? If you found this investigation into the hidden mechanics of royal life fascinating, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us uncover the secret histories that the world rarely sees. What is your favorite royal tradition? Let us know in the comments below, and don't miss our next video, where we dive into the dark and controversial history of the crown jewels, stories of stolen gems, and ancient curses that the palace would rather you didn't know. See you in the next one.